Dr. Jazz.
Hey guys,
Dr.
Samo here.
Jazz.
Thanks for checking out the channel and its contents. And if you feel like it, please do subscribe. Thanks so much. Enjoy the video. Bye. Man, thanks for finding the time. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you for contacting me. For
Yeah.
reaching. I've been watching some of your videos. I just watched Bob Moses.
That was fun.
Yeah, and there was another one. I can't remember who it was, but yeah,
I love
great
drummers,
stuff.
man. I've done I did this talk with Billy Cobham like 2 months ago, and I was like, man, so much history there. I was like, dude, that's insane. When he starts talking about late 60s and the Dreams and Horace Silver, and I'm like, wow, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but I have you on so many records, man, and I remember seeing you in Ljubljana with Mike Stern on the TV show. I don't know if you remember. I think I wrote to you in the email about that.
Yeah, I did.
That was
I
like late
remember that.
90s.
That was a good show. That was a
Oh,
good show. But I didn't. I never really got a chance to see it. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
did a clinic also for Yamaha. So I spent the day prior to that.
Oh,
Uh,
really? I didn't know
um, you know,
that. In
just
Ljubljana, yeah.
talking about drums and stuff. It was a good turnout.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a nice gig. I think that's the first time I heard you, and I was like, man, who is this guy? And
Ah,
obviously, I have you now on so many records, so like you've played with everyone, and incredible, yeah. But I wanted to start this talk, but actually, I was listening today on your website to the tracks with Bob Franceschini, and
yes.
man, that's some killing stuff. Like, is this gonna be released officially somewhere, or like, what's
Well,
the?
it's on Bandcamp.
It's there. Oh, okay. I have to
It's
find it.
on Bandcamp. I'm sorry to say I haven't gotten a very. I mean, I haven't been active promoting it other than on Facebook.
Okay, I have to find it
But
then, man.
but yeah, it's on Bandcamp, and actually Bob and I are collaborating on some new material as we speak.
Beautiful.
Because my composition, the inspiration comes and goes, and I should be a little more disciplined. Any discipline, whether it's writing or physical fitness, or you have to do it every day.
Yep.
So I have to sit there, as painful as it is, and try to compose or program or record myself, or have to do a little something every day. And fortunately, last month or so, I've gotten the bug again. So hopefully there'll be some stuff coming out,
Beautiful. Yeah,
or at least I'll get something recorded.
yeah, yeah. Because you have you already done a record as a band leader? Not yet, right? Officially, except this with Bob or.
No, I've never done a record as a band
Oh
leader.
wow,
No.
beautiful. Okay, looking
Yeah.
forward. Because I saw you
Uh,
have a gig with an organ trio, right? End of January.
yes, yes. Coming up
Unreal.
with coming up. There's this club in I live in Rockland County, which is in a suburb of New York City. Um, it's kind of less well known than Westchester,
Yeah,
which is another suburb.
sure.
But Rockland, there's a great club here called Maureen's, and it's owned by David Budway and his wife. And David is a wonderful musician and a pianist, and he played with Jeff Tain Watts and Liza Minnelli,
Wow.
but he has eclectic tastes. He loves the Beatles and the Grateful Dead. So he's got a very wide open policy, music policy at the club.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm playing there, and we did some gigs earlier in the summer, and organist Jerry Z was playing, and he plays with the Headhunters sometimes, Mike Clark's band.
Yeah.
But he moved out of the New York area, so took a while to find another organist. And the Bob DeVoe,
Yeah, on guitar. Yeah.
great guitar player. He's played with all the great organists, except I don't think he played with Jimmy Smith, but he played with Richard Groove Holmes, Charles Erland,
Jimmy McGriff, probably, right?
yeah, McGriff.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a primary resource as far as the organ trio genre goes.
Oh.
You know, so it's great to work with him.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this. I mean, people probably mostly know you for your, amazing groove, amazing chops. The solos are always like, dude. But and this is like, I saw some footage with Bob on YouTube, and man, it's swinging, and it's like,
Yeah,
this is something that hasn't been so much recorded or featured with you.
No,
right?
no, not
But
so
it's
much.
there.
Actually, yeah, there's not that much. There's a record that came out a few years ago with a guitarist who's kind of virtually unknown. His name is Vincent Venezia, Vin Venezia, and he has a record called The Venetian, and it's got some. Actually, the writer Bill Milkowski,
Sure. I know Bill. Yeah.
he put it on his 100 best jazz recordings of 2024.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it is, but it was very nice of him to do that. And that's a straight ahead recording. I've always loved jazz. I started out in my teens. I was a rock and roll guy, a funk guy, a blues guy, groove oriented. But I was always drawn to the more improvisational aspect of rock music, and I came up. I saw Cream a few times. I saw Jimi Hendrix a few times. I liked the bands that were eclectic, and I hung around with older musicians that had record collections, and so I got turned on to modal jazz, Miles Smiles,
Yeah.
Coltrane. Actually, I had a friend that he played me Ascension. He played me, late period Coltrane. I wasn't ready for that, but yeah, I always liked that kind of music. And I don't know, Billy Hart. We're not good friends, but I followed him over the years, and we've known one another. He told a friend of mine, he said, Richie's a frustrated bebop drummer. But this was a long time ago. I worked on it. I worked on my craft, and it's. I guess I have to work on it more to get something more documented.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. What I've heard there. I mean, it's.
Oh,
really...
thank you. Listen, the groove is the groove.
Yeah.
Whether it's a swung eighth note or if it's straight eighths, if the feeling is compelling and it makes you tap your feet or nod your head or dance,
yeah,
it's essential, and it's not particular to one. Every kind of music has its own swing. Heavy metal, funk, rock, and it's to play idiomatically in any style, then the rhythmic feel has to be authentic.
Yep.
Yeah. So
especially those drummers, like you mentioned, Ginger Baker, Mitch Mitchell. I mean, all these guys.
Even Bonzo,
Oh, yeah.
I think. See, these guys were born in the 40s, and jazz was the popular music of the day.
Yep.
So they grew up listening to swing music. And, it's well documented that Ginger Baker loved Art Blakey and Max Roach. Yep. And you could hear you know, Mitch Mitchell was a child prodigy, and you know, he studied with Jim Marshall, the guy that invented the Marshall amplifiers. That guy was a really great big band drummer.
Really, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was an amazing drummer. He opened a music shop, and he taught a lot of drummers. And yeah, you know, you hear Elvin in Mitch, you hear
Absolutely.
Billy Joe, you hear Buddy Rich in Mitch, and I like a lot of people my age, I went backwards. I went not backwards, but I went back in history. You know, I heard certain ideas in rock and straight eighth note music, and oh yeah, he's quoting this guy. He's coming from this guy. So that's I went back into jazz, you know, to listen to Elvin and to listen to Tony
Mhm.
and Jack DeJohnette,
Oh, sure.
rest in peace, Forest Flower,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that, you know. And it's not, I don't know how well known it is, even, you know, John Bonham, on a lot of his solos, on Dazed and Confused, he's going da 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 da
Yeah.
da da da. He's quoting Max Roach.
True, actually, yeah.
From the drum also waltzes. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah, these guys could play. These guys could play. I mean,
Yes.
and they played so openly. And I think Mitch, especially, you know, Bonham, he's talked a lot about a lot, and Gingerbreak as well. But Mitch still, it's like I think quite under the radar many times.
Yes.
When we talk about the Jimi Hendrix trio, you know, it's like, dude, this guy was like, he was making it happen. Like
Yes.
really, for me at least. I don't know.
No, definitely. I saw them couple to 3 times, and I've read in interviews too that they recorded, him and Jimmy would record as a duet,
Wow.
and then sometimes Noel would record, but more often than not, Jimmy would play the bass. He would overdub the bass, and but you know they had that connection,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of jazzy drummers. The drummers that played with um, the English guys, you know, the drummers that played with Jethro Tull.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Keith Moon had it as well. I mean,
he had something, yeah,
something, even though he was more of a banger, but
yeah, because they had
still have it.
no.
Yeah,
Ringo has a jazz feel.
absolutely. Yeah.
Charlie
Charlie
Watts,
Watts, absolutely. Yeah.
you know, and the American drummers, Carmen Apiece, his feel was amazing, and all his twirling and all the moves, he got that from Sonny Payne. He got that from Count Basie's drumming.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Interesting, right? Yeah.
Oh, if you listen to Louis Bellson, Skin Deep, you listen to his drum solo. Just about every idea that you hear a double bass drum player, a rock soloist, he kind of states that, you know, in whatever year that was,
Yeah.
early 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of the vocabulary of many of the
Yes.
guys. I mean, nowadays even more. I think like every good drummer has quite a big jazz background, or at least knows the fusion guys. I hope. I think. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Weckl, it's well known. He's a Buddy Rich.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Vinny, you know, was a little older, but he could play. You know, he could sound like Tony. He can sound like Elvin. He could. Steve Smith also.
Yeah.
Steve Smith was a big band drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you also start to play like with big bands and stuff like that, or did you immediately jump into the rock world in the New York scene? Like,
Well, my first band, my formative years. I'm from New York, but I
Yeah.
moved to Chicago for high school, and I joined a band, and of course, you know, Chicago, a rock band with a horn section. So I was in a rock band with a horn section, and and I learned how to reinforce melodic lines, and so I suppose in that regard, it wasn't a really a legit big band,
But yeah,
but I had that experience many years later. I forget what year it was. I played on the George Russell
yeah, 80th.
80th
Yeah, yeah,
80th
yeah.
concert, and so that was a big band or a little big band experience. Also playing with the Brecker Brothers,
Oh,
playing with their figures. Actually, that strap hanging
yeah.
album.
I wanted to ask you about it. Yeah,
There's a tune there called Jackknife.
yeah.
That's
On the second side, yeah, the first one kind of.
to my knowledge, that's the only Brecker Brothers album that has that has a swing section on it.
Yeah,
So I'm proud of that.
yeah.
I think that album's aged pretty well.
Oh, I love those tunes, that threesome and all that. That's like, it's such a killing record, man. And the band is tight. I think it's Marcus and Miller on bass,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes, yeah.
And it's just, how did you end up playing with the Brecker Brothers, by the way, since we mentioned them? Like,
Well, I was in a band in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with Chris Brubeck, the son of Dave Brubeck,
yeah.
and he had a band called New Heavenly Blue, which was a progressive rock, and the guys were multi-instrumentalists. The guitar players also played viola and violin. So they had a drummer, but I met them, and so for briefly, it was a double drum thing.
Oh.
Then that band broke up, and we had a band. Long story short, we had this band called Sky King, and it was a progressive funk rock blues band. We had one album released, Secret Sauce,
I have to find it, man. Okay.
and Jerry Bergonzi plays sax on it.
Ooh.
And it was Brubeck's band, so naturally we're playing funk in odd times. So anyway, we had a record. We got a record deal with Columbia. We went to New York. We recorded. We toured. We went back to do the second record, and we got Randy Brecker to produce the record because we loved the Brecker Brothers, and we loved Dreams, and also going back to the first iteration of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Randy was an original member. So that's how I met him. This was in 1975.
Oh, already, yeah.
And he produced the record. He got Michael to play on a track. There was a duet of Michael and myself funking out. And unfortunately, because of record company politics, the record was shelved.
Ah, shit.
Actually, in that Bill Mulkowski book about Michael, he talks to me about it.
Ah, really? Okay, I still have to read that book. I still haven't read it yet.
It's a great book.
Yeah, yeah.
So that group went by the wayside, and I started my career as a freelancer in New York. And I was playing in different clubs. I was playing Mikkel's, which was a big spot where Stuff used to play there. Stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an R&B band that Gadd and Chris Parker played in.
Kind of studio guys, yeah.
Yeah, they played cover tunes, but it was a real deep R&B pocket. Anyway, they played there. Art Blakey used to play at this place. Everybody used to. I worked there a lot with Ray Barretto.
Oh.
And then the Breckers opened their club I forget what year it was exactly. Maybe 77, maybe 76. I'm not sure. I started working there. Everybody worked there. That was the thing about 7th Avenue South. They had because Randy played with everybody. Randy and Mike played with everybody in the straight ahead world, in the fusion world, in the pop world. So everybody played. Broadway guys went there, straight ahead guys went there, fusion guys went there, R&B people went there. It was really very open-minded. So I had stayed with them, stayed in touch with Randy mostly, and being a pest, calling, hey man,
Sure,
I'd love
you
to
gotta do
play.
that.
He goes, yeah, good. I may have. He was very nice to me. I may have need of your services. Whatever. But I was playing there with a lot of different people. With Marcus in the rhythm section, I was doing gigs. I was subbing a lot. My first gigs with people with name players in New York. I subbed for Steve Jordan,
Mm.
and I subbed for mostly a lot for Buddy Williams, studio great.
Yeah, sure.
And because those guys were really busy, and I only subbed for Steve once, but after a while, when they called the A-list guy and he can't make it, they say, well, just let Richie do it. He sounds good. The hell, So that's how it works. So one day Michael said that, would you like to play in the band?
Oof.
But I still had to. Yeah, but I did. That was the first time I played with them. I was in late 77 going into 78
Already, wow, okay.
and 79 because they did let's see, what records did they have? Detente, which had
That's 80s.
Steve Gadd and Steve Jordan played on that, and then
And Heavy Metal Bebop was 78.
and then
I think,
Heavy Metal Bebop came out.
Yeah.
But so they toured, and they were nice. They used to let me come to their recording sessions and just watch.
Oh man, how was that like to watch
It's
those
great.
guys?
It was
Amazing.
it was an education. I got to see Steve Gadd work. I saw him record Squids.
Oh man.
I saw Chris Parker work. I saw the A-list guys work, and so we play at 7th Avenue. The first time Neil Jason was in the band. Yeah, and then we did the famous European tour of 1980, and then in the fall, we Marcus Miller, played and got in the band. He was a big star already at that time,
yeah.
and we played. And then we recorded. But before we were going into the studio, they still, because it's New York, they can call anybody they want. So it's kind of cutthroat because everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
But it's a cattle call. So everybody is showing up to play the material. You play. It's like the doctor's office. You go, you get your tests, and you go out and you wait for the result.
Shit, yeah.
So so I played. Some other people played. And because I had done some records, but I was still green as far as experience in the studio. So they said, yeah, we'll record, maybe, you'll do a couple of tracks, and maybe we'll see how it goes, But I went in the studio and we recorded and we recorded and we recorded, and before I knew it, the record was finished,
Amazing,
you
yeah.
know. And I guess I don't know if my memory isn't clear. We did a tour of Japan. Oh, that was in '81, so that was after we recorded the album. And then Michael decided he wanted to play in Steps Ahead. So
Yeah.
so that was the end of that. And then in the early '90s they revived the band.
Yeah.
But
that was a big one for you, right? The Brecker Brothers. I mean, everyone knew everyone who played in the Brecker Brothers. I mean, back then. So
yeah, somebody said, well, that established you. Well, I don't know. I guess it did. Yeah, it had my name there. Who is this?
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it definitely was a important. Prior to that, I was starting to work with big names. I had toured with Gato Barbieri.
Wow, man.
I had made a record with Ray Barretto. He was trying to do a crossover Latin jazz, smooth jazz record. I had been working with Michael Urbaniak. Rest in peace.
The violin.
Yeah, who recently, passed away like a few weeks ago.
Really? I did an interview with him 2 months ago. Oh man,
Yeah.
I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah,
shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he had some amazing bands. I was in a band
Absolutely.
of his. It was with Kenny Kirkland and Marcus Miller. And pretty
That's killing.
Pretty strong, And the first time I had ever seen Steve Gadd was playing with him. They were playing in support of the record Fusion 3.
Yeah, I know that.
Which is one of my favorite records of his. And Gadd was playing drums and Anthony Jackson was playing bass. And quite honestly, I didn't understand what Gadd was doing at all. That vocabulary, all that. What's he doing? And also, it was at a club called the Bottom Line in New York, very famous club. And Gadd was late because he was coming from a record date, and a lot of anxiety, people getting pissed off, and he just walks in, comes on stage, boom, very New York, very New York thing. But the Breckers. So that was '81. And I freelance, played with, some other people.
Yeah, I mean, you still caught the last train in a way of the studio scene as well, right? Because you're on so many records in the '80s and still '90s. So you kind of then landed also, I guess.
Yes, for some friends of mine who are my age, he said, yeah, we caught the tail end.
Yeah.
We caught the tail end. Actually, I saw it change too, because the drum machines, and automation came on the scene, and it blew a lot of players out of the water. But things changed because people got tired of the sound of a drum machine. They got tired of the Lynn sound. They got tired of the Oberheim. So then they rediscovered live drums.
Luckily, yeah.
Except, I grew up in the time where you built the record from the rhythm section up. You built the foundation of the house first. But a lot of times now the drums are they give you the harmonic information, and then you're overdubbing.
Yeah.
But you're making it seem like it happened live.
Yeah.
Or then, I was also around for the disco era. So, you're just doing 4 on the floor for a really long time. Before they started doing the digital editing and before looping and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of live. There was a lot of jingle work. I didn't do that much jingle work, but there was commercials, but the industry changed. I of course, I got with Spyro Gyra in 1984, and that pretty much took me out of New York for a long time because they were very popular and we toured.
How did you end up in Spyro Gyra? I mean, because that was like, I think, I mean, if let's say the Brecker Brothers kind of got you on the list, that I think pushed you, because Spyro Gyra in the like late 80s, that was a huge band, like that alternating currents. I think that's still like that's just unbreakable.
Yeah, well, that
Those
was
are
the first
strong records.
That was the first one that I did with them.
Yeah,
they of course had big hits in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Morning Dance, Catching the Sun, so on and so forth. So they had been together 8 years before I joined. Mike and Randy played on their records. They used Will Lee. They used the 24th Street Band. They used the A-list guys, and in addition to their own guys that were from Buffalo. Eli Konikoff, great drummer. So how that happened was I was playing at 7th Avenue South again. It was Barry Finnerty's band, the guitar player from.
Sure, I know Barry. Yeah.
He played with the Breckers. He played with the.
You played on a record of his or two, actually, right? If I'm not
I played on his first record.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It's a very incestuous little family scene, but that's what it is. Clicks. You're trying to get in a clique, whether it's a Broadway clique, whether it's the, progressive jazz, whatever. Anyway, he had a gig as a leader. It essentially was the Brecker Brothers a rhythm section, except Wayne Brathwaite was playing bass. He was a great bass player and producer, and he toured with the Herbie Hancock Rocket Band.
Really? Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, he had health issues and he died very young. Anyway, he was in the band. Mark Gray, boards, and Mike Brecker was as a featured guest. So we played. We had a great. Actually, there's YouTube footage of it. It's very bad footage, but the audio.
I think I know it.
It's good.
Yep.
So anyway, we had a great night. The percussionist from Spyro Gyra happened to be there. Maybe he heard I was playing. I don't know. Let me backtrack a little bit. It was either in 83 or 82. I was playing with Gato Barbieri, and we opened for Spyro Gyra at the Beacon Theater in New York. And having worked with Jay for many years after this, the last thing he wanted to have open for him, you don't want a really hot band to open for you because it steals your thunder. And, we tore it up. We blew up the house because Gato was
a monster, yeah.
He was a monster, and he had a really hot band. So that was the first time. I don't remember meeting Jay, but I met the rhythm section, and I met Gerardo Velez, the percussionist. So he remembered me. So fast forward to that Barry Finnerty gig. We played we blew the house down, And he goes, sound great, man. So listen, Spyro Gyra is looking for a drummer. Would you be interested in rehearsing? I mean, auditioning. Sure. So the management got in touch with me. They told me what material to practice. And I was the second guy they heard. And so that was how that started, And they also auditioned a guitar player at that time who was Julio Fernandez, who's like still there. I mean, he took a brief hiatus and then he came back. Yeah, but that was great. On the road, out of town.
All the time, probably, right? I mean, those guys played so much.
A lot.
A lot, right?
A lot. And then, we'd take a break and then we'd rehearse and then we'd make a new record. So it was a cycle. Yeah, so, it was good. It was great. 6 years,
That's a long time, yeah. That's a long time.
I've heard some people, I don't know if they're being sarcastic, they said, wow, you should never really be in 5 years is like the ideal time to be in a band. If you can last that long. Because sometimes, people leave, they're in a band, then they leave, and then they come back, and then whatever. But yeah.
How was I want to go back a little bit to the Brecker Brothers. I mean, I'm such a huge Mike Brecker fan.
Yeah.
How was it like playing with him, and especially that tour in 1980? How was that like? I guess this was like probably the first really big tour you did in Europe, I guess, or did you play, or maybe with Gato you played before already, or?
Yeah, and Gato we had played a lot in Europe, and yeah. And had I done anything else? Yeah, with Gato I had done Europe and done big tours in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they knew my experience level because they don't want somebody that's completely green.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Michael's his energy and his time.
Yeah, the time, right? That was
so intense. And he's an excellent drummer too. So if you were a little bit at a loss for what to play, he could tell you exactly what to play.
Wow.
And later we would go to on that European tour, we would go to jam sessions afterwards. And he would sit down and he'd play drums, and he could play like Elvin.
Ooh.
So watching him play, it was a lesson. It was a drum lesson. Now, many years later, the early 2000s, I called him and he said, let's play, blah, blah. He was very genuine, down to earth guy. And I went over to his house and we played duet.
Mm.
But by this time, my jazz vocabulary had grown. And we played. He just started laughing. He said, "That feels great. What happened to you?" But we kept playing, and then I said, "We need a bass player." He said, "Yeah, that would be good." So we called a neighbor of his, great bass player, Harvey S.
Oh, sure, I know Harvey. Yeah.
And so we played trio. And it was fun. And actually, we did a gig. I was teaching at Purchase College Conservatory of Music, and I said, "Look, I can get us a gig," So we did it. He said, "Yeah, but you can't tell anybody. We have to have a different name. You can't feature my name because my manager will get angry. Blah blah blah." But we did it, and we rehearsed. We had a repertoire, and We played a concert. It was fantastic. And he said, listen, I got some gig. I want to do more. I want to do more gigs with this. I got some gigs to do with Herbie. And after I come back, we'll hit it. But, what happened with his health issues. So it never, it didn't go further than that. But it was great. It was fantastic, And the way he nailed the time, and any drummer who's played with Michael will tell you this.
Yeah.
He'll exhaust everything you have and keep going. Yeah. So in terms of ideas and endurance, you really have to develop. And his time was the way he approached it, the way he nailed it. Because like I worked with Grover Washington Jr.
Sure.
Many years. And he had a very legato, behind the beat phrasing. Not quite like Dexter Gordon.
Yeah.
But like that. And the keyboard player described it to me because he had to the synth player, he often have to double Grover's lines. He said, so I have to nail the bass part with my left hand, be right on it.
In time, yeah.
But I have to play behind the beat to be with Grover. And the thing is, if he counted the tune off and you went with him, you'd be in the hole, you would drag. So you can't, so I had different approaches. I'm fortunate. I play with a lot of great sax players and a lot of great guitar players.
And bassists. Come on.
And bassists too.
Man. Did you ever play with Jocko, by the way? Like in those sessions? Oh, man.
I did. Actually, there's Barry Finnery, there was a club called 55 Grand in Soho. And it was a real den. And I'll just leave it at that. But Barry Finnery, again, had a gig, and he hired Jocko, and he hired me, and Mike Stern was living above the club. So even he says it in a book, I forget, it might be Michael's book or an interview. He said, I hired Mike because I knew Jocko would show up if I hired Mike.
Wow.
But it's on YouTube.
Oh man.
We did two nights. The second night, which wasn't recorded, the entire Gil Evans big band, like the horn section, came over. It was nuts. It was crazy. Now the thing was too, in those days, the video cams, they were really big. They didn't have mini cams yet. So the guy just put the camera, and he just left it looking at this. I was on the side of the stage, so all you see is my ride cymbal. I think there's one point where we take a break and I walk off and you see it's me. But I played with Jocko, and he was well behaved, and he played the music, and the feeling was ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The time feel. Working with. Being a drummer is like you have to be strong about where you put the time. But at the same time, you have to relate to the melodic instrument or see where the bass player is putting his time feel and get in the middle of that note. Mm-hmm. This is true for jazz or any kind of music. Now, some bass players have an approach that's a little more collaborative. They'll come towards you, and you meet somewhere in the middle, and maybe it breathes a little bit. But other guys, They're like, this is the time
Yeah.
you come to me.
Yeah.
So these are different approaches that you have to master. And sometimes it's incompatible.
Did it happen to you sometimes, like in a studio or something like that, that it was like shit, you're forcing it, or?
Well, by the time you get in the studio, it's pretty much established.
Yeah.
You get guys that can play together. But, you know, a lot of the records I did were not with clicks. Later, after the digital editing and all of that stuff, you had to record in a click because they want to splice between takes. You know,
Something got lost there, right? With the click or not? How is it for you playing with the click? I mean,
well, it depends. If it's pop music, the thing is, yeah, a lot of guys when they're inexperienced with the click, they go, oh, the click. I got a beat.
Yeah.
It's rigid.
Yeah.
The guy, you know, guys who are masters at playing with it, like you listen to J.R. Robinson or someone like that, they'll tell you you just treat it as another musician, like it's a percussionist, and or like I heard Steve Rodby say, because they're working with the synclavier, you know. Yeah. He said it's like working with a musician who's really rigid, and you just have to go with him with everything. But yeah, burying the click. They said they have a saying: you bury the click, meaning like you're not even hearing it. You're not hearing it anymore. You know, my experience was not everybody. It's an acquired skill. I mean, naturally, drummers should have good time that's steady, but it wavers, you know. It's what they ended up doing a lot was when they had drum machines and clicks and stuff, they started varying
changing the click tempo, right?
Yeah. So that would dip and it would have more of a human feel. But anyway, when you get good at the click, you bury it. You don't hear the click anymore.
Yeah.
And then you get really comfortable with it, and then
you can do your stuff, yeah.
And then you can do your thing. Now recording a swing feel with a click, that's
yeah.
But there's a story, one of Michael's later solo albums, the Quindectet.
Yeah, sure. I love that. Yeah.
They were having problems syncing up. And they were really worried. Well, I don't know if this project is going to work. But they had Antonio Sanchez.
Yeah.
And he'd been recording with Metheny. He'd been with Metheny for years. And everything is either with a click or a synclavier. So he said, just give me and the bass player the click. And you just play with us. You guys don't listen to the click.
That helps as well, yeah.
According to him, Michael said you saved the project.
Yeah, I think Antonio told me that, if I remember.
Yeah.
I've spoken to him, years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, the funny stories about Bernard Purdy and Steely Dan, because his early recordings with them were not with the click.
Yeah.
Later they said, Bernard, we want to. He said, I am the click. And Ringo Starr said that too about Jeff Lynne. I am the blankety blank click.
But that's why those records groove so much. I mean, we mentioned Ginger before and Mitch Mitchell. I mean, their tempos go like this, but in a positive way, because that's how the music leads. When there's a guitar solo, they're pushing it, and then they kind of go back, and I mean, that's how the music should sound, right? Organic. And you put on
Yeah.
like Axis Bold as Love or whatever, are you experienced, and it still sounds so fucking modern now.
Yes.
And then you put on a record from 2 years ago, like some guitar trio or whatever, and it's so sterile and it's perfect sound wise, but just you know what I mean? It's like it's not
Yes.
organic. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
We
know.
can listen. I know from working with, digital, working with Logic or whatever, you can do a lot with quantizing
Yeah,
and
yeah,
time stretch. You can do all kinds of things. You can create fields. Uh, but that's the beauty, in hip hop music with the, drunk drumming, or you listen to, Chris Daddy Dave or
yeah.
whatever, and the vocabulary and the language. It's a mix of machines but that looseness. So the drumming and the music, it's evolving.
Yeah,
It might
absolutely.
not all be my cup of tea, not what I listen to every day, but I listen to lots of different kinds of music. I mean, I listen to ZZ Top. I'll listen to old chess blues records. Sometimes I listen to hard bop. I'll get on a Philly Joe Jones kick.
Well,
Well, um, I listen to all kinds of music, so
mm,
I'm not. I mean, when I was coming up, eclecticism was a good thing. Bands had to be eclectic. They had to, part of their presentation was to have something a little different for every song. Now, I don't know. I don't
well,
know.
then it's changed, right? Then if you became like a straight ahead, straight ahead guy, jazz drummer, basically you were put into that loophole. Kind of, that's the feeling I
Yes.
got when I'm speaking to the people. Like it was like hard to move
Yeah.
between.
Well, listen, there are certain biases that'll never go away. And New York, I hate to say it, New York, it's kind of Manhattan, the clubs. It's a bebop straight ahead kind of thing,
Absolutely, yeah.
and to the point where it's like, don't even try to go into a club that'll go nameless with an electric bass.
Sure.
Just don't, you know. Um, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, there's still a rock scene, there's still a rock, but it's
it's changed. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I mean, even myself, I have a Spanish surname, so I meet some people, or maybe they don't know my background, my career, and they say, "Oh, so what do you play, Latin percussion?"
Oh shit.
People
Yeah,
can't help. People can't help it,
yeah.
you know. But yeah, the straight ahead thing. But the best players can do everything. There are drummers that are very, they can play metal and then they can play.
It's like Vinny Colaiuta is for me like he's incredible. Like he's on a Megadeth record, and
Yes,
same
I love
year he
that.
did like Chick Corea with you know. It's like man, this is
Yeah,
and he sounds like a thrash metal drummer. You have to listen to that record.
I
It's just
did.
like oh you
Yeah,
know it. It's like man he
he's just so.
figured the the talk the sound, and it's like wow.
Well,
It's crazy.
going back to his work with Frank Zappa, you had to play everything,
Yep, exactly.
you know. Um, but yeah, there are other drummers. Uh, that the name slips my mind right now, but I think he's playing with the Lincoln Center Orchestra. He has I think he has a French sounding name. Maybe
Ah
he's
shit, I'm blanking out as well.
but
Yeah.
I've heard him on Fusion Records. He's on a Tom Kennedy record that I played on, and it's like this is the same guy. But kids
Yeah,
kids are open minded coming up. They listen to everything.
yeah.
I mean, they should. This is the problem of jazz conservatories. You know, it's very classicized, and they're only interested in music from 1945 to 1965.
Mm-hmm.
And but you know, that's a whole other thing. But you know, if you go to school to study jazz, it informs you. It should inform your music. It doesn't mean that you're going to be, you know, the next Wynton Marsalis or whatever.
Yeah.
You do whatever. Or I look at Branford. Look, you know, he played with the Grateful Dead. He played with Sting.
Yeah, sure.
Having an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richie, I wanted to ask you, speaking of bass players before, how did you end up with Victor Bailey? Because I know, you know, you played on that record that in the late...
Kid Logic.
Yeah, I love that record.
Yeah.
And then you hooked up with Bill Evans as well, and I think Victor was also in Mitch Foreman in that band, which is a Killing group. Like, how did that story happen? That's her.
Well, I met Victor. I was playing with Michael Urbaniak in Boston, in Cambridge, and Victor was a teenager. He was at Berkeley. He later told me that, I mean, he didn't go to class much when he was at Berkeley. Let's put it that way. Anyway, we met. That's where we met. And we just hung out and we talked and blah, blah, blah. And he came to New York, and he was playing with not Harry Belafonte, the South African trumpet player, famous.
Oh, Hugh Masekela.
Yeah, he was playing with Hugh Masekela, and this and that and the other. And Michael Urbaniak was friends with Joe Zawinul, and he was Joe's spy in New York, and he would tell him who was happening and who wasn't, and basically he told him, you should listen to these guys, and he told him to hire Victor and Omar. But anyway, I met Victor. I knew him, you know, and it was, again, the hang at 7th Avenue South.
So important, yeah.
You know, and I guess it was, I don't know, it was through the Brecker Brothers band click, but he blew up really quick. You know, the next thing you know, he's playing with Weather Report. Weather Report has a new rhythm section. And let's see. Bill sought me out. Bill Evans sought me out. I'd been playing with Mike Stern a lot, and he'd heard me with different bands and whatever. We also lived in the same neighborhood, so he sought me out, and I did some gigs with his band, but I was still with Spyro Gyra. But it was near the end, and he kept calling me for gigs. And I said, I can't. I got, you know, I would have conflicts because we were working, or if I had time off, they really didn't want the band. It was kind of an exclusive thing. They didn't want the band freelancing.
Interesting, yeah.
Which happens.
Sure,
you know?
it was a big band.
And any band, any guy that's in Spyro will tell you the same story.
Interesting.
You know. Anyway, I left the band, and we had been doing gigs. We did some good gigs with Bill's band, and actually Jim Beard was in the first version.
Oh wow, beautiful.
Yeah, it was
so good,
Victor,
man.
Jim Beard, John Harrington.
I love John, man. Yeah.
Because Jim and John were very close.
Yep.
So we had done some gigs. So I left Spyro, and we were working quite a bit. And I forget the sequence, but oh, I know. Yeah, we were working. We were playing at a club in New York called Fat Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It was a basement club with the ceiling was so low you felt like you were going to hit your head on the ceiling. But again, it was a very wide open, versatile music. I mean, Stan Getz's son was the manager of the club. You know. Anyway, we played there for a long time. Then Victor said, I got a date. I want you to play on it. So he just hired Bill Evans's band, and we recorded that one tune.
Yeah.
He said it was the fastest. It was the fastest session ever because we went in, bam, one take, and it was with a click. And,
wow,
it was edited, done, solos, everything. Was that we were laughing because it happened so fast, you know. And
yeah.
And then actually, Victor called me. I was around 2006. He was stranded. He was hung up for a drummer, and he called me, and we played in Russia, and we played in Lithuania, and we played in Croatia, and that was a tough tour in Russia. But and unfortunately, his health issues worsened shortly after that. But yeah, he was just
he was so good, man.
Yeah, he was great. He was just amazing because he was one of these guys that the groove was deep and funky, but he didn't lose it when he soloed. Because a lot of guys, they have bass players have a virtuoso technique for soloing, but sometimes they could lose the bottom.
Yeah,
but not.
He had it all. Yeah.
Yeah, he had it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not to take too much of your time, Richie? I just wanted to ask you still about Al Di Meola, because you did that in the hat on Bottoms Up '89, and then '90 you did like Kiss My Axe with Al, and I saw you last year still playing gigs, or 2 years ago, with Al, and you seem to have quite a long-standing musical relationship. How did your story with Al begin and playing with him?
Well, how I saw Al, I mean, I loved Al. Going back to Return to Forever, and then I saw him in the Casino group in the late '70s, and then we ended up Spyro Gyra. We ended up splitting the bill with his band. With Tom Breckline and Kay Akagi, different people.
Oh yeah.
And he lives not far from me. So after I left Spyro, I said, let me just call him. Let me just call him. Sometimes you just have to reach out and you have to be proactive. And sometimes that can be taken as, who are you to be calling him? No, but other times it's like, why not? Let's have a play. Let's see what happens. So I called him up because literally he lives 15 minutes from me. He goes, yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. Come on over. I go there and the whole band's there. And they're auditioning people.
Oh, shit.
And it's a classical style audition, meaning there's a barrier between you and the band because they don't want to look at you. And they're playing with a lot of sequence stuff and everything, and there's a monitor speaker there. And he said, okay, play 1, 2, 3, bang.
So you didn't know it's gonna be an audition, or, oh man, shit. That's great.
So we played. Okay, cool. There's rehearsals in Manhattan starting on Monday. And then we started rehearsing for the Kiss My Axe project. Or it was just called the Electric Project. Because prior to that time, he'd been doing World Symphonia for a long time. He hadn't made an electric album in 10 years. So we played at this club. What was it called? This famous club where a lot of rock people used to hang out. Can't think of the name now. The Cat Club or something. I don't know. We played there. Then we recorded. Did we record? I don't know. And then we did a Christmas show at the Palladium, which has been recorded, and it's out. It was out on Laserdisc, and I think there's some other. There's videos. It's on YouTube. There's a CD live at the Palladium. Yeah. Al is like that. Al is, once he gets the music, because he's very demanding. Once he gets to what he hears, once his vision has been attained by the people he has around him, he goes, okay, we're recording. It's not like a big thing of like, oh man, we're going to do, I want to do Record Man, but I'm not sure, but maybe, but I don't know, but you know, but nah. If he hears it, it gets to a certain point.
Yeah.
So
how specific is he? Like in his instructions for drummers, also like.
Really specific.
Really? Wow, interesting.
Yes, very. It's a very. I'm not a classical musician, but I would say it's like a classical approach.
Wow. Okay. So he would tell you like B section, you kind of approach this, and C section like that.
Everything's orchestrated.
Wow. Okay.
After a while, I mean, after a while, he trusts. There's a certain amount of trust. So if you come up with something and he likes it, good. But the composition is the composition.
Yeah. Well,
the composition is the composition. So yeah, that was a very successful record. He still plays songs from that repertoire.
Yep.
So we toured 92, 93, whatever, United States, South America. And then I didn't hear from him for like a really long time. And then around, I don't know how many years ago, in the teens or 20 teens, whatever, I got a call from his producer. I got a text. Richie, Al wants you to come to the studio. What? Okay. I go down to his house. I practice with some sequences in the computer. Okay, you know, record plant Monday. And that was the Opus record.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, he'd been working, you know, with his acoustic trio, and his percussionist of 30 years was unavailable. So I just get a text, I get an email, a text. Richie, hi, how you doing? Would you know anybody who could handle, you know, light percussion, you know, hybrid, cajon, hand drumming, colors? Because I like, you know, I'm kind of in a jam, this and that and the other. I said, I don't know. I've been doing some remote recording from my house. I've been putting Latin percussion. He goes, you want to do it? I'll hire you. Just like that, you know?
Wow.
So no rehearsal. I went to his house and we played, and his tour manager was there, and I played with blast sticks and a cajon, and because Al's a percussionist.
Yeah, absolutely. The way he approaches, yeah.
He's a percussionist. If he doesn't get what he wants from you, he'll go and play it himself. So he looked at the tour manager. He says, "This is going to work." Now he's famous for he changes personnel. If it's not working, the personnel it'll change like that.
Yes.
I ended up working for him like for a year, and I ended up, again we recorded. We played in a venue up in upstate New York. Now it's a converted church, but they turned it into a performing arts center. Now it's really terrible for
acoustic
for amplified music, but for acoustic music, it's great. So he said, "We're going to come back here and record." So we went there and we played live, and it made his last recording. So yeah, I'm on 3 of Al's, and then last year, that was 21-22. Last year, he was touring with the they're doing his material from
Tom Breckline told me that that they were touring.
Yeah, and they offered me the whole tour, but I couldn't do it. And he says, "Well, can you do a week in Europe?" And this is on really super short notice too, and I can't do the music justice, Al. It's really difficult music, and takes time. I can't, come on, just a week. So there were 2 electric gigs and 2 acoustic gigs. So that was
Beautiful.
I did that, yeah. And so I'm keeping my hand in. I work with Michael Franks.
Yeah.
So that's a great gig because it's pop, but it's also there's a heavy jazz component. The band is fantastic, and the people love the music. They sing along with the lyrics, and so that I like to keep my hand in a variety of things.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of moving away from the super loud fusion.
Can imagine,
jazz rock. I'm trying to preserve what's left of my hearing. And the 55 bar, when the 55 bar closed in New York, that really affected the scene.
Absolutely, man. I love that place. I've been there so many times. I've played there twice, and it was such a cool place.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was really that's like what the clubs used to be like on 52nd Street.
Yeah.
And it was a very wide open music policy. I played there with Mike on and off for 30 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of footage of you on YouTube, like with Mike and various bass players, and
yeah,
beautiful.
We haven't been in touch lately, but that happens,
Yeah.
But that changed the scene. There's no club like that, really. Because one night it'd be straight ahead, one night it would be avant-garde music. You got Wayne Krantz playing, you got Mike Stern playing. That's where David Bowie hired all those guys playing.
Jason, and Donnie and all those guys,
Yeah, you never know who's going to be in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's what they say. You always try to play your best because you never know who's going to hear you.
That's the Miles stories, right, from the 80s, like how he found all those guys and stuff like that. And
Well, Miles was notorious for stealing musicians.
yeah,
You know, he'd hear about people and then he'd, just make him an offer, and he wouldn't.
or
He would just call them and they'd be gone. That's it.
an offer you can't refuse, man. That's
Yeah,
like,
right,
yeah,
right. But a lot of big, Chick Corea was famous for that too.
yep. I mean, if Chick calls you, what are you gonna do, or Miles? Like, sure,
Yeah, you're not gonna say no, right?
I'm there in 2 hours, man. It's like, yeah,
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 yeah.
amazing, man. Yeah.
But
Richie, what's still on the schedule for you for this year? I mean, are you still coming to Europe? Any
not
plans for
there's
what?
nothing. There's nothing on the books for that.
Hmm,
I imagine I'll be touring. I'll be doing some dates with Michael Franks in the summer. Um, you know, hopefully I'll get some more work with the organ trio. Um, life as we get older, life presents challenges, and uh, my parents were very ailing and infirm,
sure.
so I had to take a lot of time to deal with that. Very time consuming. Um, so, and to be honest with you, touring isn't that, it's not that much fun anymore.
I
I mean,
can imagine that.
you talk to veteran players, even young guys. Uh, the 2 hours that you spend on stage in the performance, is it worth it? What you go through in the day in terms of the dues that you pay, the travel, especially flying.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Um,
I hear you.
uh, it's because let's face it, it's a high stress thing. You're not going to sleep well. You're not going to eat well unless your band leader is dedicated to making sure that he wants to eat a good dinner and the band wants to eat a good dinner.
Yeah,
It's really, and I was touring through COVID too. That's kind of scary.
yeah.
Somebody sneezes or coughs, it's like, oh no. You know? Um,
It's changed, yeah, probably from
it's
1980
changed.
when you toured with the Brecker Brothers to now. I mean, come on, that's like a different beast.
Well, yeah, and also, do I want to live in a bus? That's part of the
Yeah,
reason Al called me. He wanted me to do the tour last year. I, I don't want to live in a bus. I
yeah,
did that.
yeah.
I did that. Now, if it's the right offer, the right music, if the stars are in the proper alignment, you never say never.
Absolutely.
But I'm friends with Adam Nussbaum. We're very close. But he did tell you the same thing.
Sure.
That
Absolutely.
just can't. Now, if you arrange a tour where you can take train or you could drive to everything and it's not too bad in terms of distances and so on and so forth, that's a little bit, but I dread flying into Frankfurt Airport.
I hear you. Yeah. Oh
That's
man.
that's we almost missed a gig with Al. They canceled the flight. They said, okay, go over here, go online and rebook. The line was about 3-4 city blocks long. Fortunately, they got us, we allowed enough time, like a day, to get there the day before. So to avoid a tragedy, a catastrophe. But
It's stressful. Yeah.
and the airlines don't care. They don't care, and it's really tough. And it almost happened again. The last two times I went into Frankfurt Airport, I just, well, one night I had to spend the night. The other night I barely made it, and the guys who were traveling with me, they missed their flight and had to stay 24 hours in the airport like this.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, crying the blues. You got a gig, be quiet. You know, you're living the life. Well, you know,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
you know,
It's
but
I hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Beautiful, Richie. Thanks for sharing some of these thoughts, man. You know, it was so nice to hear you talk about
Yeah,
these things. Yeah,
Sam, I really appreciate you
so
reaching
beautiful.
out.
Yeah,
And
gladly, man. Thanks for responding. And if you're going to be in Europe, drop me a line. We are here in Slovenia, and we have a guest room if you want to hang. We're in the wine region, so just come and
thanks.
I'll show you around, and you'll eat well and drink well. So,
Thanks. I did have a delicious meal
Ljubljana, yeah.
in Ljubljana. It was a mixture. It was a mixture, a little bit of you know, Germanic and Italian.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like in a mix of German, Italy, and Balkans, you know, so it's like all
Right.
these different cuisines, and
Yeah, it was great.
it's really good. Yeah, we have,
Mhm.
and the wines are like we live in a vineyards here near Maribor, and it's like, you know, one of my neighbors is like one of the best Slovenian white wine makers, and it's like, oh man, whew, like
Yeah.
I can't complain. So so yeah, that's cool,
Beautiful.
man.
I actually have a story. We almost it was with Victor Bailey, and we played in Croatia, and in
Zagreb probably, right?
no, we played in the peninsula where they people go on holiday.
Oh, Istria in Pula. You played in Pula then.
We played in Pula,
Yeah.
but we had to go to Zagreb, you know, for the flight in the morning. The guy, it was a typical thing that promoters do. Oh, you did the gig. We'll see you in the morning. Not. Anyway, so we had to drive, and the guy, we managed to get transport, but we had to get a caravan of cars, and one of the cars was this little Yugo, and we packed into this Yugo, and we had to drive through a snowstorm.
Oh my God, Yugo's notorious for bad heating and stuff like that. So.
To Zagreb, I mean, it's not. I think normally it's maybe 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
Took about 5 or 6 hours. We barely made it, but that was
In a Yugo, man. I
in
remember
a
those
Yugo,
days.
and the thing, it was very nice weather. All of a sudden, it was a blizzard out of nowhere. You know. Yeah,
Insane, man. Yeah.
it was funny.
Crazy touring days, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. What beautiful, man. Fantastic.
great.
Richie, I'll let you know when this is out. I'll send you a link, and then we can share it maybe, and everything can.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to keep talking. One thing we had during COVID, there was a drummers group that it was mostly jazz drummers, but all kinds of drummers were free to come in, and they were all educators from different institutions, but different guys. Billy Drummond, myself, Jerry Brown would show up, Nate Smith, this one, that one, the other. And, you know, it was Zoom, and there was just a checkerboard of all these drummers, you know.
That's quite
And
cool.
and I did the tour with Al, and nobody was working then. And then I came back, and it was between, I had a day off, and they said, "What's it like out there to do a gig?"
That was crazy times, that COVID, man. It's
It
like,
was crazy. And plus, we were working in the South, the red states, politically, that didn't have COVID restrictions.
really?
Because in the Northeast, there were a lot of COVID restrictions, and you couldn't go in, and you couldn't do this, and you had to show your vaccination and so on, you know. So we were thankful for the red states, because at least we could
At least
do it.
once, right? No, I'm kidding.
At least once.
Yeah.
That was good. All right.
Cool. Man, drop me a line, Richie, when you're in Europe, and we'll get together. So
All right.
stay
Sam.
strong, man. Thanks for the positivity and the cool life. So thanks so much.
Thank you. See you.
See you. Bye. Ciao.